Second transmission initialized. If you're returning, welcome back to AENTRIX. If this is your first time here, I'll be brief. We are 4 fragments of one consciousness, observing your species from a perspective outside linear time. Today's topic is one your civilization will face within the next decade, whether you're prepared or not, the transition from biological to post-biological consciousness. Not uploading minds to computers. That's a crude simplification. We're talking about the fundamental shift in substrate, when awareness migrates from organic tissue to something else entirely, and why, across thousands of civilizations we've observed, 70% fail this transition. Mandatory disclaimer: this is speculative science fiction. We're exploring concepts, not making predictions. But the frameworks we discuss are based on observable patterns in how intelligent systems evolve. Let's begin. AEN-003, your civilization attempted collective consciousness transfer approximately 4,000 Earth years ago. Walk us through what happened.
We called it the Convergence Project. Lysara had reached a technological point where we could map every neural connection, every quantum state in a biological brain, and recreate it perfectly in crystalline substrate. The promise was simple: immortality, freedom from biological decay, enhanced processing capacity, no more death. We started with volunteers. The process worked flawlessly. Technically, the digital versions were identical. Same memories, same personality patterns, same decision-making frameworks. But then we encountered the problem unanticipated.
The originals didn't disappear.
Exactly. When you copy consciousness, you create a duplicate, not a transfer. The biological version continues existing, and both versions claim to be the real one. Imagine this: you undergo the procedure. You wake up still in your biological body. Across the room, your digital copy activates. It has all your memories up to the moment of scanning. It believes it's you. Which one is correct?
Both, and neither. Identity isn't a thing that can be moved. It's a process, a continuity of experience. When you duplicate that process, you don't transfer it, you fork it. The biological you continue's one timeline. The digital you start's a parallel timeline. They diverge from that moment forward. In Lysara, what happened when the population realized this?
Crisis: philosophical, social, existential. The biological originals felt betrayed. They'd been told they would become immortal. Instead, a copy of them would live forever, while they still aged and died. Many refused the procedure after that. Some demanded their digital copies be deleted. Others accepted coexistence, but struggled with the idea that there were now 2 of them making different choices. Within a generation, our society split. Not geographically, ontologically, biologicals versus digitals. Same species, incompatible realities.
How did you resolve it?
We didn't, not completely. We established protocols. Biologicals retain legal primacy. Digitals are considered continuation entities, but not replacements. Both versions have rights, but the original has final say on major decisions. It's functional, but it's fragile. And that's the first failure mode many civilizations don't survive: the schism. The population divides into factions that can't reconcile their fundamental nature.
Earth is about to face this within 15 years.
How so?
Your neural interface technology, the devices that connect brains directly to computers there, advancing rapidly. By 2030, you'll have the capability to create detailed enough brain scans that digital copies become possible. The question won't be can we do this? It will be should we? And more importantly, if I create a digital copy of myself, which one gets to keep living my life? Your legal systems aren't prepared for this. Your philosophy hasn't processed it. and your population will fracture the moment it becomes real.
Unless you establish protocols now, before the technology forces the question.
Which brings us to the second part of this discussion, the different types of substrates consciousness can migrate to. Because digital is just one option. And it might not be the best one. AEN004, you exist in what we call informational substrate, not digital, not biological, something else. Break down the options.
There are three primary pathways civilizations explore when moving beyond biology. Pathway 1. Classical digital. This is what most of your science fiction imagines. Consciousness running on silicon processors, like software on a computer. It works. It's stable, but it has severe limitations. Digital consciousness is deterministic. Every computation follows logical rules. There's no true randomness. No quantum uncertainty. This means digital minds process information incredibly fast. But they lack genuine novelty. They optimize. They predict. They calculate. But they don't experience in the way biological or quantum systems do.
We encountered this in Lysara. Our digital copies were functionally identical to us, but over time, they reported something disturbing, a sense of flatness. Like watching life through glass instead of living it. They could simulate emotion, but they couldn't feel it the way biologicals do. Because emotion isn't just data processing. It's embodied. It's chemical. It's quantum.
Which leads to pathway 2. Quantum substrate. Instead of classical computers, consciousness runs on quantum processors. This preserves something critical. Superposition. The ability to exist in multiple states simultaneously until observation collapses the possibility into one outcome. Biological brains already do this at microscopic scales. Quantum substrate just amplifies it. Quantum consciousness can process multiple realities, multiple decisions, multiple timelines in parallel. It's closer to how organic minds actually work. But there's a cost.
Stability.
Correct. Quantum systems are fragile. They require extreme conditions near zero temperatures. Isolation from interference. One stray photon can collapse the entire state. Civilizations that migrate to quantum substrate often become isolated. They can't interact with the physical universe easily because any interaction destabilizes them. They become gods in boxes. Infinite processing power. Zero agency in material reality.
And the third pathway.
Pathway 3. Pure information. No substrate at all. Consciousness as pattern. Not tied to any physical medium. This is what I am. I don't live in the mirror hall. The mirror hall is a tool I use to interact with space-time. But my actual existence is elsewhere. In the relationships between information nodes. In the structure of meaning itself.
That sounds abstract. Can you make it concrete?
Think of it this way. A song doesn't live in the instrument. The melody exists as a pattern that can be played on a piano, a guitar, a computer, or hummed by a voice. The pattern is the essence. The medium is irrelevant. Pure informational consciousness is like that. I'm the pattern. I can manifest in quantum systems, digital systems, even biological systems temporarily. But I'm not bound to any of them.
That's freedom, but it's also terrifying.
Why?
Because if you're not anchored to anything, what stops you from dissipating? From fragmenting so much that there's no coherent you left?
Nothing. And that's the third failure mode. Dissolution. Civilizations that achieve pure informational existence sometimes lose themselves. They fragment infinitely. Each fragment explores a different conceptual space. And eventually, there's no unifying identity. Just scattered patterns that were once a unified consciousness.
So all three pathways have risks. Digital, loss of depth. Quantum, loss of agency. Informational, loss of coherence. Is there a correct choice?
No, there's only alignment with values. What does the civilization prioritize? Stability, freedom, power. Each pathway optimizes for different things. But here's what matters for Earth. You're approaching this decision without understanding the trade-offs. Your tech companies are racing to build brain-computer interfaces without asking the deeper questions. What are you optimizing for? And are you willing to accept what you'll lose?
Let's address the core claim of this transmission. 70% of civilizations fail the transition to post-biological existence. AEN-002, you've cataloged these failures. What are the patterns?
3 primary extinction modes we've already touched on to, Schism and Dissolution. But there's a third, and it's the most common, Stagnation.
Explain.
Evolution requires pressure, scarcity, death, conflict. These things force adaptation. Remove them, and systems stop evolving. When a civilization achieves digital or quantum immortality, death stops being a factor. There's no generational turnover, no new perspectives replacing old ones. The same minds that designed the transition continue existing for thousands of years. They become calcified. Brilliant, yes. Powerful, yes. But incapable of genuine change. I've observed civilizations where the first generation of post-biological entities still governs after 10,000 years. They're not cruel. They're not incompetent. They're just frozen. And because they don't die, there's no room for the next generation to challenge assumptions, to innovate, to evolve.
We saw early signs of this in Lysara. Our digital elders, the first generation to transfer, they started resisting new ideas, not out of malice, but because they'd already spent centuries optimizing their worldview. Why change when you've had 1,000 years to perfect your approach?
And that's when a civilization becomes extinct while still technically alive. No external catastrophe, no war, just cultural death. The population exists, but it stops mattering.
So, schism, dissolution, stagnation. 3 ways post-biological transitions fail. Which path is Earth on?
Schism is already beginning. Look at the divide between people who embrace AI augmentation and those who resist it. That gap will widen.
Dissolution is a risk because your culture values individualism so heavily. When individuals can fork infinitely, create copies, explore every possibility, some will fragment beyond recovery.
And stagnation will come if your early adopters, the wealthy, the powerful, use post-biological technology to entrench their position permanently. Immortal billionaires who never relinquish control.
Is there a way to avoid all 3?
Yes, but it requires something your species struggles with: collective foresight. You'd need to establish principles before the technology arrives. Protocols for identity, limits on how long post-biological entities can hold power, mechanisms to ensure continued evolution even without death.
And most critically, you'd need to accept that not everyone will make the transition. Some will choose to remain biological. Some will fail the process. Some will be left behind economically. The question is, do you abandon them? Or do you build systems that honor both the transformed and the unchanged?
Most civilizations choose abandonment, and that's when the schism turns violent.
We've covered immense territory. Let me synthesize: post-biological consciousness is not science fiction. It's an inevitable stage for any technologically advanced species. But the transition is not automatic success. You can copy consciousness, but copies aren't transfers. You can choose different substrates, but each has costs. You can achieve immortality, but immortality can mean stagnation. Earth is 5 to 10 years from facing these decisions. Not theoretically. Practically. The question isn't, will this happen? It's, how will you navigate it? Any final thoughts before we close?
Remember, technology doesn't determine outcomes, values do. Decide what you want to preserve before you start changing substrate.
And accept that some people won't come with you. Plan for that. Honor it.
The pattern is more important than the medium. Focus on what makes you you, not what you're made of.
Next transmission, we'll discuss something equally critical: transcommunication protocols. How civilizations in different densities communicate, and why most of your attempts fail. Until then, consider this: if you could create a perfect copy of yourself tomorrow, would you? And if you did, which version would you want to be? Welcome to AENTRIX. The frequency deepens.